Hey, what's up everybody? Hope you've all been well. So, Back4Blood, developed by Turtle Rock Studios and released October 12th, 2021, just a few weeks ago. It's made by the same people who made Left 4 Dead way back in 2008, man I'm getting old, and it's seen by many as that game's spiritual successor. Having played it, I think that's a fair statement. Despite some differences, both good and bad, for me personally it feels like Left 4 Dead. Consider it the Ames window of video games. Does anyone know what that means? Too obscure? Am I really weird? So the Ames window, in case you don't know, is an optical illusion that suggests what our brains expect to see, dictates what our actual observations are. Well, I played the hell out of Left 4 Dead back in 2008. Fast forward to today, Back4Blood, made by the original team, looks like the original game, and it's even named like the original game. As a result, my brain's got expectations. The outcome? Well, with virtually every turn and gunshot in Back4Blood, my mind was saying, this is Left 4 Dead. The evolution here is so proper and so fluid that it's tough to tell where one game ends and the other begins. Ultimately though, that's both good and bad. Occasionally, it almost feels too similar to its predecessor. So, much like the optical illusion, the game never seemed to come full circle for me. There's a faint familiarity to it, but also a lack of something totally new. Bottom line, my opinion is a bit mixed. I think it's a decent game. It's more a refurbish than a revolution for the series though, but good enough for me to check back in on its progress from time to time. If this is your type of game, or you can play it for free on Game Pass, I can recommend it. But if you're looking for a shooter that lets you gear out your character and play how you want, you'll likely be disappointed. There are things I like and others I didn't. Technically, it's damn near flawless. Incredible frame rates and frame times. Some moments gave me that yes, more of this reaction, but those are reserved mainly for a few big set pieces. The rest of the time I was more like, yeah, this is okay, nothing exceptional, but nothing outright bad. I did squeeze some time in with a few friends and got mixed reviews from them as well. Some loved the fun and possibilities a mindless co-op fragfest like this offers up. Others were turned off by the character development systems and inability to just plain play what and how they wanted. One thing's for sure though, all of us loved the gunplay.
Got a feeling we're not gonna like what happens next.
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now. We're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves. Never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves. We won't let the world burn away. Burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the
Shit.
So, quick game summary. Back4Blood is a 4-player co-op first-person shooter. You get the typical zombie plot here. There's been a worldwide pandemic, most of the planet's population are now zombies, and all that's left behind is this post-apocalyptic world. How timely, right? As a survivor, known as a cleaner in-game, you team up with 3 others to achieve various objectives and fight off the zombie hordes. You create a playthrough, select from one of 8 characters, create a card deck, group up with others, and start off on your adventures with the point being to complete the story comprised of 4 acts and about 15-ish total levels. Along the way, you find various weapons, weapon upgrades, gear, and cards to aid in your playthrough. If your group is wiped out, that specific playthrough is done and you have to start all over with a new character. It's a roguelike in that sense. Hallmarks of the game are its insane zombie hordes, cartoonish levels of graphic violence, and a card system.
Peaches.
The card system and supply lines go hand in hand and are essentially the core of the game. So, the card system is a way to influence your character and playthrough in the here and now. You craft a deck of 15 cards based on those available in your inventory. Which cards you choose is entirely up to you. Decks can be focused on pretty much anything you want: DPS, health, stamina, team buffs, whatever. This is your opportunity for player agency. If you want a playthrough to be all about guns, just build a deck focused on that. If you want a playthrough to be all about team buffs, you can do that too. Again, it's totally up to you. Of critical import here, when a round starts, your deck is set in stone and no changes can be made. And cards in your deck are played in order, so put your best cards at the front. When a round starts, you get the first card automatically. Subsequent cards are awarded as you complete missions and reach safe houses. So example, my first card is one that turns my punch into a much more lethal knife. My second card is one that rewards me 2 health for every enemy I melee kill. There's a nice synergy there. Got it? Okay, cool. So how do we get more cards? By something called supply lines. Supply lines are just fixed progression tracks you work through that award you new cards. Think of these as a more long-term plan for your character. The tracks are themed, some are focused on guns while others focused on melee, and so on. You advance through these supply lines via supply points, which you earn for simply playing and completing objectives in the game. So does all that make sense? Basically, you use the card deck to customize your character and playthrough. As you play, you're rewarded supply points, which you spend on supply lines to unlock more cards. Rinse and repeat. Personally, while I understand and appreciate the concept, I wasn't really a fan. I felt like my character has so much power that was just locked behind the cards. Others might like the variability of it all, but I just want to use the abilities and capabilities of my character that I've earned and unlocked. There are 5 primary weapon types: ARs, SMGs, shotguns, LMGs, and snipers. Each type has several weapons in the category with distinct stats, DPS, mobility, ammo capacity, all the things you'd expect. There are 2 secondary weapon types, pistols and melee weapons. Again, each type has several weapons to choose from, all with distinct stats. Each weapon, except for melee weapons, can be further customized via attachments. As expected, the number of attachments each weapon can carry varies, and attachments affect everything from your damage, to the scope, to stability, to reload speeds, and so on. Another critical note: once an attachment is on, it can't be removed. It can only be replaced, so choose wisely. You can carry 1 primary weapon and 1 secondary weapon. Weapons are available via the store at each checkpoint or in the field. You can also get them from teammates should they drop theirs. Weapons and attachments come in varying degrees of quality. As expected, the typical rarity themes apply here: common, rare, epic, and legendary. And in my experience, higher rarities become more readily available as you progress through the story. Beyond the weapons, players also get 3 accessories. Specifically, you get 1 offensive item like a grenade, 1 defensive item like a medkit, and 1 quick accessory such as an ammo pouch or defibrillator. There's no rarity for accessories, and you can replenish stock of these either in the field or in safe rooms. Personally, I thought the weapons and weapon systems was one of the shining stars of the game. I appreciate the variety. Even within each weapon type, you'll find several good options to choose from. Pretty much everything feels and sounds good. They feel heavy, tangible, and the impacts are satisfying. The fact they impact your mobility is a nice added level of strategic depth as well. I do take beef with the fact you can only carry 2, but they're going for realism here, so I understand. And while I like the attachment systems, I absolutely hated that you could only carry what's attached to your gun. This often left you in a bad spot, as maybe you picked up a scope, but now you're fighting in a house and you'd rather have iron sights. I really would have liked to carry more attachments and swap them out as needed, but man, it is what it is. All in all, the weapons and gunplay are standout features in my opinion.
Walker? Chris? It's good to see you.
Chris?
Mom.
Long time no see.
You get 8 characters to choose from, though only 4 are unlocked at the very start. Each has their own unique weapon and traits and offers the player an opportunity to select one that fits their playstyle. Some are focused on DPS, others healing, others team buffs, so on. It's helpful to build a balanced squad when playing with friends, but it's not a necessity on regular difficulties. Another critical note, man, those are getting out of control. Once you select a character and start a playthrough, you cannot change. You're stuck with that character until you either complete the campaign or die. Some characters appear better than others, but I personally don't see any must picks. Just pick the one that either complements your team or one that complements your desired playstyle. The enemy types aren't really worth going deep on. As expected, there are various common units that appear in droves. There are more rare special units that are tougher to take down and come with special abilities. All told, there's about 15 different types. What is worth talking a bit more about, however, is how these enemy types change along your playthrough. Remember the card system we talked about earlier? Well, the enemies also have their own card system called corruption cards. At the start of each level, the game selects random corruption cards. These are designed to make the enemies in playthrough more variable and difficult. An example of this might be a corruption card that gives a special unit armor on top of their existing health, or a card that simply adds more enemies. As you progress through the game, more and more corruption cards are drawn at the start of each round. From a functional standpoint, it's a nice way of randomly making things more difficult, but personally, not a fan. I don't like random chance dictating how my gaming experience will be. Others may feel differently, and that's fine. To each their own.
I didn't know you had to get off. But hey,
So that's it. Again, it's a decent game worth checking out if you're a fan of the genre or have Game Pass. Absent that though, I'm not sure the average player would find much value here. Conceptually, it's a nice little evolution of the genre. Technically, it's flawless. Artistically, it's average. I think hardcore players who enjoy the randomness will enjoy the grind, but others might be left wanting in that you can't always play what and how you want. It can be frustrating. It's definitely a team game made to play with friends and comms on. There's potential to go strategy heavy and really min-max, but playing with randoms, however, absolutely destroyed the experience for me. Aside from the limitations on playstyle I mentioned, relying on strangers with no comms to execute complex team tasks ranged from frustrating to just straight up game breaking. Some players don't care to cooperate, others don't know how to cooperate, and the constant players dropping out made it almost impossible to progress past certain points. You can forego co-op altogether and play solo, and the game teams you up with bots, but let's be honest, the best bots are worse than the worst humans. Admittedly, sometimes I was so frustrated by this point that I just had to take a break. But all that being said, I think there's enough here for me personally to occasionally check back in, see what patches have been applied, what gameplay's been improved, and if any new content has been added. On that note, I'll end it here. I appreciate you taking the time. Take care of one another, and I will see you soon.